the exclusive contract novel of Feilu Fiction Network. I made a fake Genshin Impact, and started the death sentence of Water God. Starpeace launched the legendary True Genshin Impact in Tivat, where recharge can become stronger, and ordinary players are worse than dogs. Zhong, the young master, Wendy, and Aying each earned an average of tens of millions of gold per person, but only the young master received one divine eye. Yingmei has been crazy for months, just to get a Dawn Divine SwordAt this time. Jiang Heng appeared with the legendary fake Genshin Impact and fake Xingqiu railways. Yingmei. Click on the Dawn Divine Sword and send it away. Fu. Wow, there are countless exciting plotlines. PV, wait a moment, Water God sentenced to death. Even the fact that Fu is a coser is kept secret from the heavens and completely exposed to the eyes of others. Lord Funina, with a mortal body, shoulder to shoulder with the gods. Pai Meng. Wuwu, you must not bully Fu. In terms of universal rationality, practicing the path of planetary God's destiny is a huge transformation for Liyue. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 2. Plot PV. Criminals dance and spin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Actually, Jiang Heng doesn't want to use this company's products either. However, his system has just been born and now there are no players, so naturally there is no emotional value. Therefore, he had to use the empty network built by Interplanetary Peace Company to build his True Genshin Impact. Now, Jiang Heng's games are actually similar to viruses or parasites for Starpeace Company. However, because the means of Jiang Heng's system are really advanced, the people of Interstellar Peace Company probably haven't been able to discover its existence yet. This void terminal has already been modified by me. You can try it on and you can experience it for free. The warm voice of the mysterious shop owner was still in her ears, and Mona had already put on this specially made void terminal with some hesitation. The main reason that prompted her to try this so-called fake Genshin Impact was no money. The mysterious young man's words seemed to have some kind of magic, and immediately deeply grasped Mona's heart. Buzz. Mona only felt a slight gleam in front of her, and then a peculiar portal, hidden within the clouds, appeared before her eyes. Along with it, there were also melodious hums lingering in the ears. This is exactly the 1.2.1 restoration of the game login interface of Genshin Impact in the previous life of Jiang Heng. Is this the login interface of the fake Genshin Impact? It's quite refreshing. Mona was somewhat surprised. She couldn't help but feel emotional. It's really a fake Genshin Impact, but there is no recharge interface. The real Genshin Impact of Starpeace will pop up a very convenient recharge portal at the first time when you log in the interface. Of course, sometimes there will be pop-up ads. For example, the latest masterpiece by Bashangtang Publishing House, the drink with the same name as Please, My Fox Immortal Palace Secretary, and the hot-selling Purple Astern Cloud Rainbow. What, Fengdan Toy Merchant, newly opened. Liyue Ziguju, Linlang waiting for you. At this moment, looking at the clean and refreshing login interface without any recharge or pop-up entrance, Mona was surprisingly not used to it. Well, actually there's no recharge interface, which seems pretty good. I didn't have a Mora recharge either, and I've been tired of watching those ads for a long time. Mona suddenly felt that this fake Genshin Impact also seemed to have some merits, ahaha. Even if the content in it is a lump of shit, there is no way to compare it with the real Genshin Impact, but this will explode the real Genshin Impact. It is not easy for a fake Genshin Impact to surpass the real Genshin Impact in such a small place. With this thought in mind, Mona lightly clicked on it with her mind, and the stone gate opened with a loud bang, instantly enveloping her vision with white light. Subsequently, a game loading interface appeared. The icon of the 7 elements slowly lights up. Finally, at the location of the Iwata Kingdom icon, the card owner remained stationary. What's going on? It's halfway loaded, why did it stop? Mona was a little surprised, but she was relieved to think that it was a fake Genshin Impact. True Genshin Impact, there is no such problem. The restoration level of the system is too high, right? Do we even pursue 100% restoration for things like rock formations? Jiang Heng silently observed Mona's gaming experience through the back-end system, feeling speechless. However, there is a difference between the different World Genshin Impact and the Blue Star version. After Mona's rock jam finally came to an end, two options appeared in front of her. This game has two modes of experience. Free mode and storyline mode. Please choose. Mona was a bit puzzled, but she quickly noticed a small question mark next to the options. After trying to click on it, a more detailed explanation appeared. Free mode. You will appear on the Tivat continent as Mona and have complete freedom to explore, play, and obtain resources freely. Plot mode. You will watch the story of Traveler screen from a third-person perspective. Aying. Who is that? Mona is completely confused. However, she was a bit curious. Because Genshin Impact doesn't have such a plot mode. True Genshin Impact, every player will obtain personal information of all players through the scanning of the Nether terminal the first time they log in. Every true Genshin Impact player is said to start a new life, but in fact, his appearance and name are both ID and cannot be changed. This so-called plot pattern is unheard of by Mona. Anyway, they are playing fake Genshin Impact. Let's try this different thing. With this idea in mind, Mona tried to choose the plot mode. Plot mode is loading. This mode will randomly select events that have occurred or are about to occur above Tivat for players to play and watch. The plot mode of this time will adopt the form of PV previews and informal content. A series of prompts appeared before Mona's eyes. What is about to happen on the continent of Tivat will also appear in the plot mode. As an astrologer, Mona instantly grasped the key points in the prompts. The meaning of this sentence is to predict the future, right? Is the so-called Tivat the same as the real Tivat in the so-called fake Genshin Impact? If so, is this guy in front of me actually a great astrologer who combines astrology with games? And, this PV is just a teaser, and there is also a formal mode. The development of the matter exceeded Mona's expectations. She suddenly felt that the boy was becoming even more mysterious. And in the future, she became increasingly excited about the upcoming plot mode. The plot mode has been selected, and the PV of the plot involves the sinner's dance step spinning. It is currently being generated, please wait. Please note. You have the right to invite characters related to the plot PV to watch together. Would you like to invite them? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Free, Funina, here we are. You are listening at novel full.audio. Can you also invite others to watch the plot together? Mona pinched her chin and began to ponder. That is to say, the characters that appear in the plot actually exist in reality. Can this fake Genshin Impact really predict the future? Invitable directory, already generated. While Mona was pondering, a series of names appeared before her eyes. But just a casual glance at this list, Mona was even more surprised. The first thing that caught her eye was naturally the protagonist of the plot, Miss Aying, followed by the unfamiliar name of Pai Meng. This is still within expectations. But the appearance of the names Funina and Navulet made Mona's expression even more solemn. Mona's master is from Fengdan, and she has also lived in Fengdan for many years. She certainly knows what the name Funina represents. That's the god of Fengdan. She was also aware of the existence of the Grand Judge Navulet. In addition to these two, there are also some people who, although Mona didn't remember their names for a while, feel quite familiar, such as Navia, Dadaria, Charlotte, Lynette, and so on. The plot of this PV, although not simple, actually includes these important characters. Mona had a premonition that she seemed to be witnessing something big. Just casually walking into a rundown alley in Liyue, how could such a thing happen? This extraordinary unfolding gives Mona a slight sense of unreality. And with Mona's invitation, at the same time, so, you are drifting from outside the world. So, the unfamiliar deity took away my brother. I was also trapped here by the gods, who have crossed many worlds before. Mond, on the beach near the star-picking cliff, a yellow-haired girl was chatting with a small floating object, carrying a hint of nostalgia. Just as they were talking, they suddenly heard a mechanical sound without any emotion coming from within the void. Player Mona, invite you to enter the world of True Genshin Impact, watch the plot PV, and the sinners dance steps, do you agree? Hey! In the void terminal, surprisingly, a conversation with a stranger popped up directly. Pai Meng couldn't help but scream in surprise. I've never seen such a situation before. On the other hand, Ying pinched her chin and fell into contemplation. Although she had been traveling in the wilderness during this period, she also bought 2 void terminals from other adventurers. Yes, Yingmei is also playing the real Genshin Impact launched by Starpeace. When you have nothing to do, playing games can earn rewards from it, that's great. Although the rewards in this game are quite difficult to obtain. Pai Meng has been urging Yingmei to make a Dawn Divine sword in the game, replacing her almost worn-out blade-less sword, but as a zero Krypton party, it's really difficult to get this prestigious Krypton weapon. Ying has been in the liver for several months and has not even touched the shadow of the Dawn Divine sword. This looks like a scam, but it can break through the friend system of the Void Terminal and send me messages directly, which is also very impressive. Ying pondered for a moment and chose to agree. Because she felt that she didn't have much to be deceived, why not go and see the excitement? Ying still quite believes in herself. She should be able to play with that scammer and just pass the time. Oh, maybe she can also tease Pai Meng by the way. At the same time, in the Bagua Bank of Liyue, young Master Daddaria was playing with a sharp blade wrapped in velvet in his hand, shining brightly like his gaze. And strange sounds also timely appeared in his ears. Invite me to watch the SwordAt called plot PV. Daddaria's eyebrows furrowed slightly. In fact, he is a hardcore user of True Genshin Impact, especially enjoying the unbridled fighting in the game, without having to worry about the damage caused by the fighting. This made him extremely addicted to this game, and he spent millions of dollars on it, becoming a VIP level 10 aristocrat of Starpeace Company. The company even has a special dedicated customer service to contact him and handle related matters in the game. Watching the plot, which means we can't fight. With a hint of hesitation, Daddaria opened the Void Terminal and sent a message to his exclusive customer service. Dear Mr. Daddaria, please don't believe this strange invitation. Our company has not carried out the SwordAt called plot PV activity. This is a fake Genshin Impact link. It turned out to be fraud. Daddaria nodded slightly. He actually sensed a hint of something was wrong, but out of interest in the game, he was curious and asked, and it was indeed so. So, Daddaria decisively chose to refuse. On the other hand, a group of invited people have already appeared in Mona's viewing room. Hey, are you Mona? You sent me an invitation letter without authorization, the only deity of Maple Dan. You're really brave. A girl with white hair and wearing blue clothes, her hands akimbo, stared at Mona with a full expression. My schedule is so tight, but I have time to come out for an appointment. You should cheer and be grateful. She is the water god of Fengdan, Funina. Funina was originally eating a small cake at the Mamong Palace, but suddenly received this invitation. She originally intended to refuse. But the words, plot, and culprit inexplicably attracted her. After hesitating for a moment, Funina decided to come and take a look. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 4. Water God, Death Penalty. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The cinema at this moment is very similar to the cinema in Jiang Heng's past life, except for fewer seats and more luxurious decorations, like a SwordAt called private cinema. Wow, there are also delicious snacks here. Pai Meng was excitedly sitting next to his seat and found things like cola and popcorn. Drinking cola, eating popcorn, watching the plot, that's just too enjoyable, isn't it? The gods. Ying's gaze never left Funina. She could certainly feel that the white-haired little girl in front of her was not the one who took her brother away, but naturally she claimed to be a deity, perhaps knowing something. In addition, the other audience present also had a lively girl dressed as a journalist. After she entered, she kept looking around and was curious about everything. She claims to be Charlotte, a special correspondent for the Steam Bird. Of course, there was also a tall and slightly silent young man who made Yingmei a little concerned. The power on this person seems very strong to Ying. According to others, his name is Neville. As the highest judge of Fengdan, the Dragon King of Water Element, Navlet was not very interested in the game called Netherworld. What he cares more about is the interstellar peace company behind it. This is an organization founded by the descendants. Since their appearance on the Tivat continent, they have quickly rooted themselves in the Seven Kingdoms and have now become a massive force that is even more feared than fools. But the person behind it never appeared from beginning to end. Not long ago, after receiving Mona's invitation, although Novelet was busy with affairs, he still decided to come and explore. He is somewhat interested in the SwordAt called True Genshin Impact. Ordinary people may not know the word Genshin Impact, but they know that there is a deeper meaning behind it. Inviting so many people resulted in these few coming. Mona looked at the sparse crowd sitting down, lost in thought. However, overall, she was somewhat surprised. After all, the three most important people among the visitors, Ying, Funina, and Novelet, have arrived. Mona got it right. She invited so many guests to me for the first time, and there was also the protagonist Funina. It seems that this time, I can gain surprising emotional value. Inside Liyue's shop, Jiang Heng's pale and slender fingers picked up the teacup and took a shallow sip, feeling quite satisfied in his heart. This is a good unfolding. Continuing with the broadcast of the plot PV, he may be able to directly expand his business to Fengdan, thousands of miles away. At this moment, everyone in the viewing room finally took their seats. The plot PV slowly began amidst the anticipation or confusion of the crowd. The first thing that caught everyone's eye was a blue icon with the words age-appropriate reminder 12+ written on it. And this kind of thing, so thoughtful. Pai Meng exclaimed in surprise. In that case, Pai Meng, you are not allowed to look at the Genshin Impact PV. Ying pinched her chin and said seriously. Ah. Me, I'm not a child anymore. Pai Meng was a bit panicked. Although she has only watched this PV for the first time, she still quite likes the atmosphere in this cinema. Especially the small snacks in her hand, she couldn't put them down. Of course, Ying was just teasing her. After this icon, a second pattern appeared, also a blue and white icon, which read, produced by Mihuyu. Hey, Mihuyu. It's clearly Starpeace that produced Genshin Impact. Mihuyu. This is really a fake Genshin Impact. Charlotte muttered, but there was a hint of excitement in her eyes. It's interesting that someone dares to challenge Interstellar Peace Company, even if this Mihuyo work is completely a pile of shit, that's also big news. The huge internet network manufactured by Interplanetary Peace Company, using technology similar to the Nether Terminal, is considered to be a cross-era change, which has brought extremely far-reaching impact to the 7 countries of Genshin Impact. Their influence in gaming is beyond doubt. And now, surprisingly, someone is going to challenge them. As a professional journalist, Charlotte keenly realized that this is a great news worth reading. All of this may sound long, but it actually happened in an instant. After 2 icons flashed by, it was completely pitch black. And in the darkness without anything, a deep male voice slowly sounded. According to the metaphorical judgment given by the cardinal, I declare, water god. Death penalty. Amidst the unusual sound of music, the background gradually lit up, and Funina sat still. Her pretty face was filled with despair, tears streaming down uncontrollably. This SwordAt called plot PV, just the first scene, made everyone present completely lose their breath. Water god. Death penalty. Me, have I been metaphorically sentenced to death by the cardinal? Funina was also stunned. What exactly does this mean? Then she felt very absurd. It's really a fake Genshin Impact, which is too chaotic. I'm clearly not a water god, so I can't be sentenced like this. Funina thought sadly. She has a secret that she has never told anyone. Hundreds of years ago, she was the true water god, and Phoebe Carlos invited her, a mortal, to play the role of the water god. Funina didn't know she was separated from Fukuros. It is said that this is a necessary step to save everyone in Fengdan. For hundreds of years, she has been working hard to maintain her character, not daring to slack off at all, afraid of being noticed by others. She bears immense pressure in her heart and can only cry alone when she dreams back at midnight. I have to admit, as a farce, this PV is very interesting, and I really appreciate this guy named Mihuyo. Seeing everyone's gaze cast upon her, Funina suddenly burst out laughing. Is the owner's name Mihuyo? How do I remember? His surname is Jiang. Mona has some doubts. P.S. Brothers, seek flowers, seek evaluations, kneel down and beg. As long as there are 200 evaluation votes, the author will not sleep today and will directly make 10 changes. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 5. This PV is so amazing. You are listening at novel full.audio. The deep male voice in PV is me. Neville frowned as he stared at the scene, his heart filled with great doubt. Is this also achieved through gaming technology? Why, he feels incredibly real. It's like in this plot PV, there's also someone who exists. Isn't this thing just an ordinary game plot? No matter what you think, judging gods and executing them is too exaggerated. Parman also muttered. However, everyone must admit it. This PV is simply amazing. In one sentence, it immediately lifted everyone's appetite. As Funina said, as a play, this opening is very impressive. Well, I've been looking for interesting operas and I'm almost bored. This plot PV really meets the requirements. Funina laughed heartily. I became increasingly interested in the upcoming plot. While everyone was puzzled and pondering, PV continued. You and I both know that there may be a problem with the water of the primitive fetal sea. Those standing by the roadside, those stepping in the water, and those who couldn't escape as the water level rose, suddenly disappeared. Is this depicting a scene of disaster approaching? It sounds so scary. The people of Fengdan fell silent. The SwordAt called prophecy has been circulating in Fengdan, and many people believe it to be false. But Funina and Novelette are very clear. This is not just empty talk. The person who made this PV is at least extremely familiar with Maple Dan. Is this really just an ordinary game plot? This level of authenticity is too terrifying. Alas, the gods should have been omnipotent. Even if you're not a local, try not to get close to those unusual-looking water. I have a bad feeling that it's very troublesome in the water. Prophecy. Yes, it will definitely happen. Why are you deceiving us, Ficus, the demon god? Accompanied by a series of highly informative words, stunning images emerge one after another. There are huge robots in ancient ruins, as well as terrifying scenes of the entire maple tree being completely submerged by floods, resembling disasters. And the most shocking thing is still a huge blue long axe composed of inexplicable energy, hanging high in the picture. That huge long axe contains an extremely terrifying power. Mona and Aying, these powerful figures, can feel inexplicably shocked just by looking at it. In the plot PV, the long axe hangs high above the courtroom and suddenly falls, making the scene heart palpitating. And the next second of the scene, under the spotlight, Funina's hat, which she often carried, fell onto the wooden floor of the courtroom. Water God, have you really been executed? The scene was completely quiet. Especially for a few people from Fengdan, the shock in their hearts cannot be calmed for a long time. At the beginning of the plot PV, the mention of the water god's death penalty felt like some kind of attractive gimmick. But the scenes that followed, Funina's speech in the courtroom, the audience's reactions, and everything was so real that it made people feel dizzy. And this is not over yet. In the future, there will be even more unimaginable scenes. A massive whale, resembling a mountain and a star, is wandering and crying. The pressure, even in the video, is overflowing, so terrifying that it dares not even eat popcorn. Of course, if all of this earlier made Funina insist that it was just a carefully designed, massive farce, just too exciting and too realistic. But the next paragraph made her suddenly stand up, her delicate body completely frozen. Everything will come to an end in a grand, dramatic trial. Goodbye, Navalette, I hope you like the scenes that have belonged to you for these 500 years. A gentle voice whispered softly. The scene that appeared alongside it was Funina gently dancing gracefully under the spotlight of the courtroom. At this moment, everyone finally realized why the name of this PV is called Sinner's Dance Spin. Is the SwordAt called Sinner the water god Funina? And at this moment, Funina has no time to think about the name of PV. What she cared about was the sentence, everything will come to an end in a grand, dramatic trial. This sentence is clearly what the true water god, the demon god Fukuros, said to her. For the past 500 years, Funina has been under pressure and persevering. That SwordAt called Grand Trial was the hope of liberation in her heart, the only straw, and the final light. This is a secret between her and Fukuros. No one else knows, not even the principles of heaven. And now, why does this phrase appear in this SwordAt called plot PV? Seeing this, Funina finally confirmed that the plot in front of her was not a farce, but a prophecy. This beautiful Miss Mona, where did you find this? Genshin Impact game. Funina tried her best not to tremble with her hands and asked in a trembling voice. Her deep blue eyes, like gemstones, looked fiercely at Mona. This time, Funina doesn't even call this game as fake Genshin Impact anymore because she had a little belief in her heart, maybe it was the fake Genshin Impact launched by Starpeace. And this game, as the invitation said, is the real Genshin Impact. PS, for flowers, for evaluations, for all data. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 7. Sobbing, we still want to play Genshin Impact. You are listening at novel full.audio. But Mona clearly misunderstood Jiang Heng's meaning. To develop such a model, in some aspects, the fake is better than the real Genshin Impact. He must be under great pressure. Interstellar Peace Company, with its influence spread across 7 countries, some of its employees have extremely terrifying strength and are not easy to provoke. Mona sighed a little. Mr. Lianjiang, such a mysterious prophet, will also be persecuted by secular forces. It is truly regrettable. Can't I add friends? Upon hearing this news, Funina was immediately very disappointed, her head drooping, and the light in her eyes was also somewhat dim. This child has been too lonely and painful these years. And this boss Jiang actually knew her secret, which was like a dawn for Funina. She yearns to find someone to confide in. Moreover, from the recent PV, it seems that Mr. Jiang knows too much. If we can get in touch with him, it may not just be about confiding. The other party may be able to provide her with more help. But how could such a good thing easily happen to oneself? Funina has long been accustomed to being alone, accustomed to loneliness. Funina, what a pitiful child. Jiang Heng also saw this scene through the back-end center. He will certainly go and solve the matter between Funina and Fukuros. Isn't it just deceiving the heavens? If there is absolute power, it is not difficult. What about heavenly principles? That slippery Fukuros doesn't necessarily need to go to the guillotine. With Jiang Heng's intervention, this matter will definitely have a more perfect ending. However, not now. Jiang Heng still needs to accumulate strength. At this moment, in the viewing room, everyone is still fiercely discussing the scene in the plot PV. But at that moment, a cold system prompt suddenly sounded. Attention everyone, please note that the PV crime dance spin has ended, and the viewing room will close in 3 minutes. The countdown will begin. Hey! Is it about to close now? Pai Meng couldn't help but scream in surprise. She felt like she hadn't brought enough, so many delicious things, and so many new friends. Everyone didn't say a few words. I haven't had a chance to ask Funina about my brother yet. Aying is also very disappointed. At this moment, Funina is clearly not in a high mood, and everyone is very sensible not to disturb her. After all, if the PV prophecy is true. So this deity of Fengdan may be judged by her people and pushed to the guillotine. This kind of thing is too sad, isn't it? Why did things develop like this? At this moment, Novelette also has many questions and wants to ask Mr. Jiang. There's no way, this plot PV is really a riddle. Although it seems to have predicted many things, it still makes people feel like it's in the clouds. It's really confusing. And will Fengdan really be completely submerged like in the plot? That's not what Villette wants to see. As a water god, what are Funina's plans? What does this have to do with her trial? Everyone still has so many questions in their hearts, but this viewing room is suddenly closing, which is really uncomfortable. This feeling is like a big rock pressing down on my chest. I can't breathe, but everyone around me has left, so helpless. Charlotte muttered in frustration. Miss Mona, you must invite us here again next time. Pai Meng grabbed Mona's hand. Okay, if I could invite you, I would definitely do it. Mona quickly said. Everyone felt a little relieved now, but still a bit unwilling. Why, Mr. Zhang's shop is not in Fengdan or Mond. In that case, they can also, and just as everyone was disappointed, a figure suddenly flashed through the viewing room. A handsome young man with a warm temperament and a smile suddenly appeared. Boss Jiang. Mona exclaimed in surprise, feeling a bit depressed. So this guy can come in. Didn't it make me look foolish to have a conversation with everyone through me before? But Jiang Heng ignored Mona and looked at the other people calmly. I believe that through this PV, everyone is very interested in my True Genshin Impact and can't wait to play. Yes. Pai Meng quickly raised her small hand. Everyone else nodded eagerly, their eyes filled with anticipation. At first, I thought it was a fake Genshin Impact. Now it seems that it is not unreasonable for Mr. Jiang to call it the True Genshin Impact. At least in some aspects, it is comparable to or even slightly surpasses the one from Starpeace Company. Let me give you a surprise. Then all the audience on the scene will receive a link to the installation package. After you download it, you can install it on your own empty terminal, and next time you can enter our True Genshin Impact. Installation package link. Can it still be like this? Everyone was pleasantly surprised. They thought that only by going to Liyue's small shop and using a specially designed virtual terminal like Mona, could they enter the game. Unexpectedly, there are also installation package links and such things. Of course, I also have to remind you that this installation package link has been specially processed by me. Even if you share it, ordinary people cannot check it. Only special acquaintances can see it. Jiang Heng smiled and said. Everyone glanced at each other and nodded repeatedly. Boss Jiang, this is because he's afraid of being discovered by people from the Starpeace company, and he even made up an excuse for a destined person, which is quite humorous. Of course, they actually misunderstood. Jiang Heng's destined person really refers to a destined person. The Tivat continent, with such a large population, has a low emotional value for many ordinary people, and there is currently no value to be collected. Only some God's Eye holders, as well as a small number of original game NPCs or monsters, belong to destined people, and their emotional value will be very high. It is the object he is currently striving for. Of course, in the future, perhaps he will launch a popular version of the ordinary Genshin Impact, which is different from the predestined person, for ordinary people to play. Although the emotional value of ordinary people is small, if the quantity is sufficient, it can also have some effect. However, Jiang Heng's current game system is just starting out and not enough to support so many people to play. He needs more emotional values. And at this moment, great, I can also play this real Genshin Impact, no longer an invitee. And Funina is the happiest one at this moment. She felt that as long as she continued playing, she would definitely be able to approach this mysterious Mr. Jiang and learn more about prophecy from him. 500 years have passed, and Funina has forgotten how long it has been since she felt so happy and hopeful from the bottom of her heart. P.S. Let me talk about the rules of adding a bonus. The minimum daily bonus is 7 bonus points, and for every 1,000 flowers, 100 reviews, 1,000 rewards, each with a bonus of 1 chapter. Pay back at the upper limit of 10 to 12 every day. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 6. Boss Jiang, what an expert. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The plot PV has finally come to an end. Actually, it's very short. But the amount of information contained is almost difficult for many people to accept. At this moment, the viewing room was unusually quiet. Everyone is still immersed in the shock, unable to come back to their senses for a long time. And in this quiet viewing room, Funina's beautiful voice suddenly rang out. Everyone can feel that Funina seems very nervous. She cares about the SwordAt called plot PV, the SwordAt called fake Genshin Impact. This makes people even more imaginative. Does even the water god Funina herself recognize the things in the PV? Is this really a prophecy? With so many details and even so detailed sound and picture, this prophecy ability is probably countless times stronger than those old ladies in the witch society. Mona couldn't help but sigh. Of course, she needs to answer Funina's question now. Actually, this is not a secret. I found it in a small alley in Liyue. This alley was originally very hidden and most people cannot find it here, but I found a flyer. Mona murmured for a moment, touched her small pocket on her body, and then took out the flyer. Flyer. Now everyone became curious, what kind of flyer could promote such a game? Everyone's gaze coincidentally focused on the small piece of paper that Mona took out. But on that small piece of paper, there was a paragraph written like this. Please don't play the fake Genshin Impact anymore. Come and play the real Genshin Impact. Your time is very valuable. If you play Genshin Impact, it will be strange not to play. The scene fell silent for a moment. Is this promotional flyer serious? How does it feel like it's written haphazardly? I can write better than him. Pai Meng shook his little finger and couldn't help roast. Perhaps this is the way experts behave. Some powerful people always behave unexpectedly. Mona said softly. She can also be considered very insightful about this. Her old lady and master, as well as the friends of those masters, have none of them normal. At this moment, in Mona's heart, she had already transformed the young shopkeeper into an enigmatic powerhouse. Even if the other person's handsome face looks exceptionally young. But relying solely on appearance cannot actually determine a person's age. Maybe, this guy is actually an old monster who has lived for hundreds of years, or even longer. Cough cough, in short, with this flyer, I saw such a young and handsome young man in the alley of Liyue, who claimed to be Mr. Jiang. Mr. Jiang in Liyue Alley. Funina was a bit surprised. She didn't expect that this person who knew Fengdan so well would be in the distant Liyue. The surname Jiang also sounds very Liyue. What is that rice hustle and bustle? I don't know about this either. Let me go ask him. Mona spoke and adjusted the screen of the void terminal to semi-transparent, with a pair of beautiful pupils fixed on the still leisurely and lazy young man. At this moment, Jiang Heng is actually in a very good mood. The shock of everyone, especially Funina's intense emotions, brought him huge benefits. Now, his game can be constantly updated. It can also better hide in the network of Interstellar Peace Company, and has enough energy to deal with various network drug attacks of Peace Company. Alas, the real Genshin Impact can only rely on the fake Genshin Impact's network and operate stealthily, which makes people sigh. I must quickly absorb more emotional value, strengthen my game, and also strengthen myself. Jiang Heng is still very vigilant. He must be careful when facing enemies with powerful forces like Interstellar Peace Company. Compared with the game, their fake Genshin Impact can't compete with the real Genshin Impact produced by his system. But what if someone else can't compete in business and directly send someone to do physical destruction? That must become stronger. In fact, Jiang Heng has detected the power of Interstellar Peace Company in Tivat, but it is not very strong. But if this Interstellar Peace Company really comes from the celestial universe, then their support should not be underestimated. Although relying on the system, Jiang Heng is already very strong, but he feels that he can still be stronger. Just in case. After all, he is also a cautious person. What is Mihuyu? At this moment, facing Mona's question, Jiang Heng couldn't help but remain silent. How should we say this? That was just a small company I used to own. Jiang Heng smiled and said, I gave him to a girl named Blonia Northern to operate. It is said that the development is good. President Blonia has developed several games, which are popular in the whole universe, and Genshin Impact is one of them. Blonia, a popular game in the entire universe. Mona nodded slightly. How could she feel that this guy is making up a random story? It is clear that you created this game called Genshin Impact. Great profit, Boss Jiang. I have received the news. MiHuyo is a mysterious organization controlled by Boss Jiang. Mona put on the void terminal and said to Funina and others. I see, Mr. Jiang is so impressive. Pai Meng exclaimed in surprise. Mr. Jiang, can you give us his virtual terminal ID? I have some doubts and want to get an answer. Funina couldn't help but say. The ID of the void terminal. That's not possible. I don't have that thing. Binding it to the void terminal of Interstellar Peace Company will expose my location, which will cause some minor unpleasantness. Jiang Heng smiled and said. People from the Peace Company may come knocking on their doors. Of course, it will not be him who is unhappy, but the Starpeace Company. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 1. True Genshin Impact, False Genshin Impact. You are listening at novel full.audio. Dingling, dingling. Accompanied by a crisp bell. The old wooden door of the store was pushed open by someone. This is a small shop that doesn't seem to do anything, located in a hidden alley in Liyue, and the shop also looks very old. However, the entire store was clearly carefully cleaned and appeared very clean. The sunset shines on the classical furniture with the unique characteristics of the glazed moon, inexplicably feeling a bit warm. But the person who entered the store was not a Liyue person, but a girl with an exotic appearance and attire. Does she look like Monde, or is she from Maple Dan? Her beautiful and exquisite figure is hidden under the wizard's robe, with a light blue divine eye that stands out prominently at the back of her neck. Oh, is this the legendary astrologer Mona? Unexpectedly, my first guess was her. It seems that the current time point is before the main line of the Genshin Impact starts. Mona has not yet gone to Monde. Jiang Heng lazily leaned against the counter, and as soon as he looked up, he recognized the identity of the pretty girl in front of him. After all, he is also a traveler from the Blue Star. And Mona stared at the handsome young man in front of her, her heart filled with curiosity. Before she came, she was surprised to find that her water was in the pan and she couldn't predict the small shop in front of her, as well as any information about the young man. This overly handsome shop owner is shrouded in a mysterious veil. I heard that you can experience the fake Genshin Impact in your shop. Is this true? The girl's voice was gentle and pleasant, and Jiang Heng lifted his head in time, revealing a friendly smile. No, 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 beautiful girl. There's nothing like this in our store. But Mona felt a bit frustrated. Is the small notes she found fake? If it were not for the fact that the Mora in her hand had spent all her time on research, it would be nice for her to play the real Genshin Impact. Why come here to play the fake? Who knows what strange thing this fake Genshin Impact is? It could even be a scam at all. Just recently, almost all Tivats had a presence in their minds similar to the Shimi Void Terminal, allowing them to enter a vast virtual world. And that virtual world is called the Nihilistic Original World. This virtual world is said to be a masterpiece of the SwordAt called Interstellar Peace Company. The Tivat people can consume Mora, raw stones, and other precious minerals to recharge and exchange strength in the void. In addition, things in the original world can feed back reality in a certain proportion. Once this game appeared, it became popular throughout the entire Tivat continent. And in Jiang Heng's view, this virtual world is like a huge online game, and it is also a heavily paid online game, where killing someone is not worth their life. It is said that there are already countless Tivat people who, in order to play this game, forget to eat and sleep, have gone bankrupt, which is unbearable. Sleeping in a slot, playing games to plunder property, and even restoring strength, isn't that what I, as a time traveler, should do? Jiang Heng, who had traveled through time, became very depressed when he realized this. What I have to do, someone has taken the lead. As far as he knew, there should be no such thing among the Genshin Impact, and the name of Starpeace Company seems familiar. The Tivat continent seems to have other visitors intervening. And just when Jiang Heng was extremely regretful, something called the Super Game System came. Just release the game and obtain emotional values from the destined person, and their system can continuously evolve. As the host, Jiang Heng can also become stronger crazily. Sorry, Miss Mona, the one in our shop is not a fake Genshin Impact, but a real Genshin Impact. Yes, you heard me right. The one you played before is fake, but mine is real. Jiang Heng put down the old book in his hand and said calmly. Are you the real one? Mona stared at the young man in front of her with some suspicion. Anyway, the words of the young man in front of me are too unbelievable. The Netherworld has changed the life of almost all mainland people. Some people even say that it has opened a new era. Its existence is a cross-era miracle and a gift from the gods. As a result, you said the other person's one was fake, and your one is real. I saw a strong doubt in your jewel-like eyes, but I don't want to explain anything, because facts will explain everything. Jiang Heng still wore a calm smile on his face, and as he spoke, he handed a void terminal to Mona. Looking at the void terminal in front of her, Mona became even more speechless. Because this semi-transparent, leaf-shaped object even has the logo of Interstellar Peace Company on it. The mysterious Interstellar Peace Company emerged on the continent of Tivat, and this type of void terminal is naturally also sold by them at a very cheap price, only requiring a few hundred moles. At that time, once this thing was launched, it was sold out. You said your game is the real Genshin Impact, but why do you use other people's Starpeace company's game equipment? Mona couldn't help but have such thoughts in her heart. How can I trust you? 8. Foo. This seawater is toxic. You are listening at novel full.audio. Fengdan, the top floor of Mamong Palace. In Funina's exclusive suite. She was sitting on the sofa chair by the window with her cute and round feet bare, her eyes melancholic. She threw away all the performances and tea parties. On the coffee table beside her, there was an exquisite fruit cake placed, but she didn't take a bite. Besides acting, Funina's favorite is desserts. It can make her not even eat cake, which shows that she is really in no mood now. Funina's entire attention was drawn to the PV of the sinner dancing and spinning. Of course, she is not afraid of being sentenced to death. Death, of course she fears. As an ordinary person, how can one not fear death? But Funina was even more afraid that she would not be able to fulfill her responsibilities on her shoulders. In the end, Fengdan was destroyed by prophecy, and everyone completely disappeared into the flood. She persevered for 500 years, enduring countless loneliness and pain. How could she be so useless? Make sure to figure out what's going on. However, the download speed of this installation package is so slow. It's been several hours and the game hasn't opened yet. Funina stared at the downloader provided by Jiang Heng in the void terminal, her small hand clenched tightly, anxious and eager. Jiang Heng's Genshin Impact downloader is also a PC version that almost restores his Genshin Impact in his previous life. A huge poster serves as the background, with Funina dancing elegantly in her eyes drooping, unable to see her thoughts. On the other hand, the background is filled with tides, flooding the Palace of Mormon. Novelette looks back sadly. Just the deep blue tide in the poster is enough to make Funina worried. She doesn't accept this fate. Mr. Jiang, who can accurately predict everything, can he help me? After waiting for several hours, Funina suddenly saw a bright light in her eyes, and the girl's figure instinctively sat straight. Finally finished, the game is open. The lengthy installation and decompression progress has reached 100%. With the opening of the Sky Island, a flash of white light, Funina finally entered the world of Genshin Impact. And in her ear, the cold mechanical female voice of the system immediately rang out. The plot mode is still being prepared and is expected to open in 24 hours. A brand new and detailed plot mode will be available for everyone to watch. The free mode has been automatically selected for you, it's not a plot mode. Funina suddenly felt a bit disappointed. She certainly cares more about the plot mode. The SwordAt called free mode has long existed in the real Genshin Impact launched by Starpeace. Funina has also personally experienced it. She is also a Krypton Gold tycoon in the nihilistic primitive world, and a VIP-12 that is more advanced than the child. After all, as a big star of Fengdan, her appearance fee is very expensive, and Fufu's small treasury is full. Forget it, let's take a look at this free mode first. What's the difference? Look for opportunities to get in touch with Mr. Jiang. With a hint of disappointment, Funina finally officially entered the game. Well, the scenery is pretty good. She found herself on the edge of a beach, with a blue sky and white clouds in front of her. In the distance, there were lush green grasslands and forests, and the coastline was bathed in seawater. In the moist water vapor, there was a faint sweet floral fragrance. Compared with the empty Genshin Impact of Peace Company, the sense of experience is not bad at all, and even more real. Funina nodded somewhat satisfied. However, she quickly discovered some differences. Firstly, there is no recharge interface at all, and there are no guild teams or transaction pages. How can I trade with others if I draw fragments of the follower character and weapon fragments? Hey, what does this dampness mean? Funina soon realized that she was standing by the beach, with the waves beating against her feet, and suddenly the two small words, damp, appeared in front of her. There is also a water element symbol hanging on the status bar above my head. There is still seawater here. Where am I located? It seems to be Mond. I don't know what Mond's seabed looks like either. Funina looked towards the endless sea, feeling quite curious in her heart. Under the water of Fengdan, it's quite lively. What about Mond? Funina has lived for so long and has never left Fengdan. With curiosity, she swam towards the seawater. Then, she realized that she couldn't dive here, and that's okay. Not long after, Funina suddenly felt a strong sense of powerlessness coming from her body. She instinctively pounced, but to no avail, accompanied by a terrifying suffocation, and the darkness instantly engulfed her. Did I disappear into the water? Funina was resurrected, her gaze fixed on the deep blue sea, her delicate body stiffening. This seawater is poisonous, isn't it? Is it a prophecy? Mr. Zhong's game design has some purpose, right? Funina murmured in a low voice, as if she was thoughtful or enlightened. Girl, is it possible that you just don't have enough physical strength? Watching cute new games is really fun. Jiang Heng felt a bit conflicted when he saw this scene backstage. Inexplicably funny, but also somewhat heartbreaking. Funina is constantly thinking about Fengdan and the legendary prophecy. Setting aside the original show of the water god drowning, Funina's exploration and play now seem much more normal. Fight slime, fight the choo-choo people, open treasure chests, and eat experience books. Haha, it's truly me. In such a short amount of time, I have collected 5 adventurers' experiences, blue. Eating these can upgrade you. This must be a rare treasure in the game. After playing for a while, Fu couldn't help but cross her hands and get very excited. Based on her experience playing games at Starpeace, these adventure books are worth at least tens of thousands of moles. For the convenience of conversion, the value of the mora in this article will be equal to that of the soft sister coins in reality, where 1 mora is equivalent to $1. Although for the Fengdan superstar Funina, tens of thousands of moles are not really a big deal. But the key is, this is for free, and she has only been in the game for a few tens of minutes and has achieved such amazing results. This is definitely worth showing off. Haha, I'm really amazing, hehe. That's it, but in less than an hour, Fu happily rose to level 8. Wow, in this game, I seem to be much more powerful than in reality. I'm just killing in the wild, my strength is super strong. My only weakness is that I can't beat Water Slim. Although Funina has something on her mind, she can't help but immerse herself in it and enjoy playing. At the moment, in the group chat function of the Nether Terminal, a real Genshin Impact game communication group has long been reported as a hot topic of 99+. Undoubtedly, this group was also established by Jiang Heng. Those who enter the True Genshin Impact and the false Genshin Impact among the outsiders will be drawn into the group. P.S. Today's update has arrived. It is estimated that there will be at least 10 chapters updated today. I will send it out every 3 chapters one right. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 9. Raw Stone, the best thing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pai Meng. You must have never imagined that she has reached level 12, and she just activated a super amazing new feature. Pai Meng, surprised, Funina. What, Ju? Has actually reached level 12. Calm alert, Funina feels like she's already fast and strong, but she's only at level 8. Aying's speed is amazing. You know, Fufu spent nearly a month in the netherworld buying crazy Krypton gold and spending all kinds of money before she rose to level 9. The Genshin Impact of Boss Jiang has been promoted to level 12 in only 1 or 2 hours. In such a comparison, the Genshin Impact of Peace Company is just a piece of shit, and the pace is too slow. If Funina were to go back and play now, she would definitely not be able to tolerate the feeling of slow upgrading, working hard for several months, but gaining very little. Once you play this Genshin Impact and other games, they are all boring and can't go back. In the chat group, the topic is still ongoing. Charlotte. Hello, Miss Ying, can you tell me the secret to your upgrade? I'm only at level 9 now, and I feel like I've worked hard, but I still can't catch up with you. Sugar, question, Neville right. Indeed, it's quite curious. Does Ms. Ying have any exclusive upgrade secrets? Nevilette, at this moment, she is actually only at level 10. Ying. Well, you should search for treasure chests more often and avoid entanglement with those unnecessary Qiuqiu people. These guys actually provide limited experience. Treasure chests, or treasure chests, important things, say them 3 times. Let me tell you, there is another very important thing in the treasure chest that you may have overlooked. Important things. Charlotte. I know, it's an experience book, right? Let me tell you, I got a purple experience book. What, purple experience book? Has Charlotte obtained all these treasures? Is this too enviable? Funina looked at the comments in the group chat and felt a little sad. I feel a bit familiar now. The company's Genshin Impact has a huge chat channel, where people often expose themselves to Europe. Of course, there are also some voice clip sisters and bubble voice men. No, experience books, although precious, I think there is one more thing that is even more important. The raw stone. Ying. Original stone, the best thing in the world. Did you discover the true meaning of this game so quickly? It's truly you, Yingmei. Jiang Heng sighed a bit. Ying played games, no, it should be said that Ying was very talented in collecting raw stones. Raw stone. Is this thing very important? Everyone in the group is a bit confused. Although it has some value in reality, only those jewelers will like this thing, right? Well, but on the other hand, it seems that Interstellar Peace Company is also acquiring raw stones, which have recently increased in price. Pai Meng said, I just said that Ying has launched a fantastic new feature that requires raw stones to play. It's a legendary prayer. Pai Meng, proud, prayer. Everyone was a bit confused, but with Pai Meng's explanation, everyone quickly understood. Oh, isn't this prayer the Krypton Gold Treasure, in the Starpeace Company? In the Netherworld, every time you steal a treasure, you need to spend 3,000 mora, and there is a probability of 0.8 per thousand that you can get a god's eye. Fu initially spent tens of millions of mora to obtain a divine eye, which was a staggering price that made her, a famous maple star, feel heartbroken. Due to the game's ability to provide feedback on reality, today's Fufu actually has some combat power. If you don't hit the Eye of God, you will receive a follower skin experience version, one day. Well, given that this skin is very useless and still a follower, it can be almost considered to have no effect and no guarantee. Mr. Zhong's treasure snatching is different. It's not about drawing divine eyes, but about drawing weapons. And with each draw, a 3-star weapon must be produced, such as the Dawn Divine SwordAt Yingmei is longing for. There is still a chance to obtain a 4-star, or even a legendary 5-star artifact. As for the price, of course it's 160 raw stones, draw once. I have already accumulated 60 raw stones now, and I feel like I need to accumulate 160, which is just a few hours. Ying is a bit excited. She used to be crazy about a Dawn Divine Sword for several months, but now she hasn't even received it. Now, in just a few hours, she will be able to produce a 3-star weapon among the SwordAt called Fake Genshin Impact. This feeling is also too pleasant. It is clear who is the real Genshin Impact at a glance, isn't it? Dawn Divine Sword, within reach, so much to look forward to. Yingmei held a star-shaped weapon, the sword without a blade, and her eyes were filled with hope. Mona. Hahaha, did you just realize? As an old veteran who entered the game first, I have already drawn 3 times. Let me show you my gains. Mona, who had been diving all along, suddenly appeared in the group. This guy entered the game earlier than Yingmei and the others, so the progress is naturally faster. Everyone looked at her adventure level and surprisingly, she had reached the legendary level 15. Boss, how impressive. Pai Meng couldn't help but marvel. Hello big shot, can you accept my interview? Charlotte also quickly let out a starry expression. Their praise greatly benefited Mona, and she quickly showed off the 2 3-star weapons she had drawn. They are Feilu Fiction and Gonglong Jiatan, respectively. These 2 shiny blue weapons, as soon as they appear, make the chat group feel like they are frying pan. Surprisingly, I actually drew it. These are only a few hours. This is replaced by Genshin Impact in Interplanetary Peace Company, which cannot last for half a year. However, as a senior sorcerer, I still have some experience to tell you. This prayer system is very different from looting. Firstly, everyone can only draw weapons from their own profession. Moreover, more importantly, the weapons obtained in this lottery system, whether in the game or extracted from reality, will be bound to the user's soul and cannot be traded. Once traded, it will be destroyed. Mona said with a solemn expression. How do you know it will be destroyed? Pai Meng was puzzled. It's really a good question, but this one is too painful. Mona's pretty face turned black and she let out a gloomy sigh. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 10. I only played for a while. You are listening at novel full.audio. Undoubtedly, after suddenly obtaining 3 3-star weapons, Mona's heart was filled with ecstasy. 3-star weapons, in reality, they can be sold for at least tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of moles, without any problem. She has only been playing this game for a few hours and has only obtained 3. At that moment, Mona seemed to see countless research funds, countless astrological instruments she longed for but couldn't afford to purchase, all waving at her. But as soon as she tried, she found that the traded weapons had instantly turned into a pile of powder. She was almost caught by Liyue's Qianyan army for fraud. This is also the reason why Mona didn't speak out despite the lively chat in the group just now. She is solving real troubles. Mona, looking at your disheveled appearance, did you go to sell weapons? When he returned to the small shop, Jiang Heng stretched lazily, put down the book in his hand, and immediately mocked Mona. Wuwu, although I am greedy myself, why do I always feel like Mr. Jiang deliberately didn't tell me the rules? Looking at my disheveled face, he seems very happy. Mona became increasingly depressed. It seems that this mysterious Mr. Jiang loves to play tricks on people. Bad guys. At this moment, in the chat group. Ah, so that's it. Can only be used by oneself. So, it's not just weapons, but also the mora obtained in the game and other items. They can't be traded, bind their own souls. Yingmei seemed lost in thought. This is very different from the empty original world. Virtually everything in the netherworld and the game can be withdrawn directly. Except for the special prop of the Eye of God, everything else can be freely traded. However, the difficulty of obtaining it is countless times higher. Actually, it would be great if we could use it ourselves. This is already an adventure given to us by Mr. Jiang. Charlotte muttered. Her words received unanimous agreement from everyone. Of course, Jiang Heng is not giving them something for nothing. He can also gain emotional points and make himself stronger. Moreover, his Genshin Impact also has Krypton Gold function. After level 12, when the prayer is activated, one can earn gold. The price is around 1,600 moles per time. More than 1,600 moles, still equivalent to half a month's salary for ordinary people, seem to be very expensive. But you should know, this is not an ordinary game. But it can obtain props. 1,600 moles, at least one 3-star weapon. Weapons with special effects. In reality, an ordinary iron sword costs more than 1,600 moles. So, the price of this lottery seems exceptionally cheap. If we consider that the obtained items can only be used by ourselves, then this price can only be said to be fair. If you reach level 12, you can start a lottery. At this moment, Charlotte secretly clenched her fist. I also want to draw lots and become stronger. Funina also nodded secretly. That's right, although she has been immortal for hundreds of years, she also wants to become stronger. For hundreds of years, Funina has been in pain, except for the loneliness of portraying gods as mortals, which no one understands. It's even more because she knows that the Fengdan people have always admired her and believe that she can protect herself. Once a disaster occurs, people in distress hope for a great deity to lend a helping hand, just like the role played by Funina in her daily life. But ultimately, Funina is well aware that when disasters really occur, she can't do anything. Whenever she sees someone in distress and prays to her, but she can't do anything, Funina tosses and turns in the late night, unable to fall asleep. So, Funina also wants to become stronger. Even if you can't be as omnipotent as a true deity, as long as you can do a little for the believers, only a little is okay. Of course, all of this, provided that she can maintain her divine identity. She must play the role of the water god well. After discovering the function of praying, everyone became more and more addicted to this game. Unconsciously, time arrived late at night. Funina suddenly noticed a system dialog box protruding from her eyes. Your gaming time today has been as long as 8 hours. For the sake of your health, we are now implementing a mandatory offline policy for you. Anti-addiction. Force offline. Is there still such an operation? Not only Funina, but also many people in the game group have been kicked offline at this moment, and the chat group has suddenly exploded. Pai Meng. At Boss Jiang, come out quickly, come out quickly. This anti-addiction is also too despicable. I haven't played enough yet. Charlotte. That's right, that's right. How could I have played for 8 hours and made a timing error in the game? I feel like I only played for a short while. Not long ago, everyone also discovered that a slightly familiar avatar had appeared in this chat group. That portrait was undoubtedly a young and handsome man, and it was the mysterious young man who appeared in front of everyone that day, Mr. Jiang. Seeing that there were too many people around him, the backstage kept thinking, and Jiang Heng was also very helpless, so he could only show up and explain. Cough cough, this is the setting, and of course, it's also true for the sake of your health. Otherwise, it feels like you need 24 hours, no, for several days and nights, all immersed in the game. Jiang Heng's SwordAt called Destined Person is not actually fixed, but emphasizes a connection with the world and a sense of luck. Just like Yingmei, if she is completely addicted to games and doesn't do anything in reality, her connection with this world will weaken, and she may become a soy sauce player. Then they are no longer destined. Moreover, if you are online for a long time, it will also attract the attention of Starpeace. 8 hours is the limit, otherwise our Genshin Impact server will be found at risk. Upon hearing Jiang Heng's words, the chat group suddenly fell silent for a moment. We were totally addicted to the game, and we almost forgot that Boss Jiang's game is still considered as fake Genshin Impact. Once it is discovered by Starpeace, there will be big trouble, right? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.